Okay, so what is climate change? Basically, it's, like the name says, the changes in the Earth's climate patterns caused by human intervention. Simple as that. But this subject is pretty controversial for a lot of people, with many people believing it to be one of our most important priorities, and other people outright denying its existence. So, how did this happen, and what can we do about it? So, yeah, fuck it, let's talk a little bit about it, I guess. First, some history. It is known that the planet's temperature is always changing, regardless of human intervention. Like the ice ages and whatever. But it's supposed to change pretty slowly, like in the course of thousands of years. However, at some point, we started to realize that it was changing a little faster than usual. So, throughout the 19th and 20th century, there were many scientists who tried to prove this, with many of their warnings being either downplayed or just ignored. But eventually, the evidence started to pile up, and by the turn of the century, we knew for a fact that the planet's temperature was rising more than it should. We were pretty much the cause of it, and we should probably do something about it. Basically, our fast industrialization is the main cause of this problem. It turns out that releasing huge fucking black clouds of smoke into the skies, hollowing mountains, draining rivers, chopping forests at breakneck speeds, and throwing trash left and right in the last 100 years, it's like of fucking course going to change our planet. Today, we know that the consequences of climate change are pretty wide-reaching. It's responsible for global warming, which melts glaciers, causes the sea level to rise and harms wildlife and plants. There's weather change, which makes weather more unpredictable and related natural disasters stronger, like storms and droughts. And contamination, which contributes to the destruction of biodiversity and the degradation of water and soil. And the thing is, all of these issues aren't isolated. They all kind of work together to make each other a lot worse. Contamination contributes to global warming, which evaporates seas and rivers, which creates droughts, which end up killing plants, so now we have less oxygen and more CO2. So now we can't mitigate contamination, so the temperature is gonna rise even more, and the cycle starts again, and I hope you understand now why all of this is such a shit show. And of course, this does very much have consequences for us personally. The destruction of our environment affects our health and can even cause food shortages. Rougher climate means we are more at risk of natural disasters, and the depletion of resources means that things are just going to get harder to get and more expensive. So, if things are this bad, why are there so many people who aren't concerned about it? From the start of this movement, there have been people trying to disprove it, either by discrediting the science behind it, trying to invent other explanations, or just good old conspiracy theories. There are many powerful interests behind this campaign against climate change awareness. And it's not hard to know who is behind it. It's the big companies, particularly fossil fuels and industrial companies. I mean, they are the ones causing the damage here, and they don't really want to take responsibility for it, because that would cost them money and they can't have that. And when companies are in trouble, they get help from the government, who also kind of have an interest in things not changing, because, it would cost them money and threaten the status quo. So, to fight climate change awareness, they engineer these misinformation movements to discredit it. And okay, look, these movements are more often than not aligned with pro-business, conservative, right-wing people who tend to take the side of companies and value quote unquote personal freedom. But honestly, it makes sense why these movements would resonate with people. It can be hard to accept that your personal choice of like buying a fucking Labubu or whatever would contribute to the destruction of the world. But burying your head in the sand isn't gonna make the problem go away. And supporting and promoting these types of misinformation movements is just going to make things worse. So, how do we fight climate change? There's a lot of talk about personal responsibility, but at the end of the day, the ones doing most of the damage are the companies and governments who enable these destructive behaviors. So, if you want to shake things up, change the status quo, and do something about our planet, maybe you should consider more carefully who you are financially supporting or who you're voting for. If someone in authority supports anti climate change views, maybe you should consider which interests are behind him, who's paying him, or where does he have stocks. However, I do still think personal action isn't useless. It helps you be more aware of the situation, connect with more like minded people, and show some of these companies and governments that we are very much aware of their bullshit. Also, you can save a lot of money. That's how I got into the movement, honestly. Like, I have stopped buying shit unless I really need it, and I've come to realize that I don't really need that much shit. Not in like a minimalist way or anything, but a practical one. I buy more reusable stuff so I don't spend so much money on like fucking paper towels, toothbrushes, and sponges and whatnot. I'm not fully vegan, but I eat less meat than before. I try to cook at home more, and I have saved a ton of money by doing so. And I have also found a new hobby that I really enjoy. There are a lot of changes that I've made recently to improve my environmental footprint. So many things I've learned that I might talk about all of that another day. I should probably also talk about some of the conspiracy theories surrounding the movement because let me tell you, they're fun stuff. I'll talk about them another day. There are so many small actions you can take that can help the environment and help yourself. At the end of the day, we are the ones benefiting from a better and healthier world. And anyone who tries to convince you otherwise is full of bullshit.